All right, it says we're live. So this is my first time streaming on YouTube. So hopefully this is going okay and the volume is okay. Since this is the first one and we're still building this community, there's not anybody on here to ask. So yeah, I don't expect there to be a lot of people. At first I might even be talking to myself for a couple of months, but I just want to show up month after month and start building that momentum and trust that the people who need to be here for these healings and for this information will be here. So before we really dive into stuff, I just want to talk about a couple of things I'm reading right now. So one is Sorcerer to the Crown. And this is a really great fiction book. It's based on a sorcerer in England. I don't know if it says what year it's set, but it kind of gives the vibe of just being like a couple hundred years ago. And it's about how England is running out of magic and they do not allow women to practice magic. And I'm about a third of the way through it, and some of it's like a little predictable, but that's not always a bad thing. And I'm really liking it. Like, it's nice to have something fiction to immerse yourself in that magical world. And I've been finding that taking the time to read fiction books is a really grounding and centering thing for me. Because usually I am just focused on nonfiction books, and that, I mean, it's really nice to be growing and stuff, but sometimes you need a break from that and something that you just enjoy. So, but speaking of like a book about growth, I am absolutely loving Existential Kink. I read this like a year or two ago, and I started to do the EK rituals and stuff, but I didn't stick with it. And I really think there's a lot of wisdom in this book, and it's a really powerful technique. So yeah, this is something that I'm diving back into. And we have this full moon in Scorpio that happened last night. And then tomorrow, Pluto is going retrograde until October 6th. And retrogrades are a really great time for us to take just kind of take a pause and reassess and evaluate where we're at and to do a lot of growth. And they're called retrogrades because it seems like the planet is moving backwards because we're still moving forward. But in reality, the planet's just kind of at a standstill at the degree and sign that it's in. And Pluto's a slow moving planet anyway. But when it is stopped like this, it just gives us a really great time to go inward and to look at those dark parts of ourselves and dive into those mysterious unconscious things that we a lot of times don't want to face. And Existential Kink is a really great way to dive into that and just kind of realize the kinky stuff that we try to hide. But yeah, that was kind of a weird description of it, but it is a really good book. And then I've really been diving into moon study, and I actually started putting tabs at like every page. So then I had to take some of them out and just put them at like really important spots because it gets kind of ridiculous and it's like, what's the point? But this book is really, really good. And what has inspired me to get really serious about having a moon practice and to really connect to the phases of the moon, because there's so much inner work we can do with the phases of the moon. So this is a really great one. And in about 2 weeks, we'll be doing another live stream around setting new moon intentions. And I highly recommend checking this book out. It is not at all necessary to be doing the live streams along with me, but it will help and help kind of further and deepen your practice. All right, so let's get into the ritual and healing. And I'm just going to be keeping this one really simple. Scorpio is a water sign, and it's really good for clearing out just kind of the darkness. And it's a really transformative and healing energy. And if we can look at it as that and not as some dark, scary thing, we can have some major transformations. So let's see, if you have anything that you do to clear your energy, like if you want to light sage or incense, you can go ahead and do that now. I have a sound bowl that I'm going to grab. I have a blanket because it's kind of cold today. So I have really been working with sound for a long time. This is a sound bowl I've had for a few years. And I actually did a house clearing for someone a couple weeks ago. And it further solidified my belief in sound healing because they have a nice, big, expansive, beautiful house, but my sound bowl made no noise. And so it should in my house. Yeah, we try to keep our energy pretty clear. So you can see I get a sound very clear and very easily. And doing that, it's a nice ringing through the air. But in their house, it was not making any sound. It was awful. It felt like it was just like I was trying to drag it through mud. And they have a lot of items that they have a few beds that people have passed away on. They have a lot of items that belong to people who have passed away. And there was just a lot of grief and heavy energy that was attached to things. So I also practice full court of atonement. So I put their whole house in a full court of atonement. And that's something I'm sure that I'll talk about more as the months go on. And then my daughters also went through their house with one of our bells. I don't think I have it easily accessible, but just energy. So energy is not good or bad. Like there's not like negative energy is usually just stagnant energy. And so if you can get that energy moving, that's what's going to put you in a higher vibration. So they went around the house before me and they rang the bell in all the corners. And we had, I had sage going, but at first I couldn't even get it to light. Like the air just felt so thick. So they went ahead of me and did that. And I cleared trapped emotions in the house and did some stuff like that. And then I was able to get the sound bowl to work. So that was a really just a cool thing to reaffirm what I already believed in, to have like this tangible thing happen to show the before and after of how the sound was able to carry at that point. Like it was like the air became lighter. So I'll do this for a second and just let the sound reverberate through you and allow yourself to be cleansed and opened up to it. Just take some deep breaths. And allow yourself to fully exhale. So as you're breathing in, imagine your breath exploring all the areas of your energetic body. Allow it to find any shame and anything that needs healing or a little extra love. And if you need to, you can close your eyes during this so you can really tune into your body. Then imagine the breath bringing a healing flow of energy to all those areas. Then with every exhale, imagine letting go of all those little fragments of energy that no longer serve you. As they exit your energy field, they're turned into beautiful source energy. And that's what shadow work is. It's finding those things that are lurking in the dark, the parts of ourselves that we deemed not worthy or bad in order to protect ourselves and to fit in with society and with our families. But they're not bad. They're just being kept hidden. And you might discover some amazing parts of yourself that are hidden in the shadows. So parts of yourself that someone encouraged you to dim because of their own fear and their own pain. And this Scorpio full moon is really here to encourage us to illuminate those dark, mysterious parts of ourselves and to find our strength and power. So go ahead and keep breathing in and allowing the breath to be a beacon of light to those shadows. And just let every inhale find all those dark corners and illuminate anything that you have kept hidden. And then anything that no longer serves you, just release on those exhales. Do some more deep breathing for another few seconds. And then once you're feeling centered, we're going to take a moment to do a quick writing exercise. And if you don't have a pen and paper, you can come back to this. I should have said that at the top of this, so my apologies for that. I am just really feeling called to heal energy around shame with this full moon. And yeah, so just take a moment and write down something that you feel shame around that you're ready to let go of, that you don't want to hold you back anymore, and that you don't want to feel down about. And I apologize for the clicking sound in the background. We have guinea pigs and they are apparently very thirsty right now. So yeah, shame can be such a heavy burden, and sometimes we make it a part of our identity, but it doesn't have to be that way. So yeah, go ahead and take a moment and write down on just like a scrap piece of paper something that you have felt shame around that you want to let go of. You can write down in the form of, I let go of shame around, or however feels right to you. And then if you want to safely burn with what you've written down, this is a powerful time to do that with that with that full moon energy. And the burning kind of signals to your brain that you are ready to let go of that energy. And this isn't like with energy work, it's not always something that it's like one and done and you've healed it and you can move on. A lot of times it will pop up again. So don't beat yourself up about it if it does. And don't think that you did anything wrong or you didn't do enough, because that's just adding more shame to the situation. In reality, we go through cycles, just like the moon does. That's why it's such an amazing visual representation of what we're going through in our inner world, because it's constantly going through cycles and we're constantly going through cycles. And so something we thought we healed, we come back around to with fresh eyes, and we see something that we maybe didn't see before. And there might still be like a little nugget of wisdom in it, or something that we didn't fully heal from because we weren't at a space where we could heal from it. But now we might be, or later on when it comes up, we might be. So it's really important to look at it again from where you're at and not to get sucked back down into the shame of it, because you might have missed something that could hold a lot of meaning for you and could really help you along your path. So facing shame can be kind of heavy. Like this seemed like a really simple, breathing and writing exercise, but if we don't address that energy and keep that energy flowing, it can cause agitation and anger and, feelings of more shame later. So like, let's just kind of shake that energy off a little bit. I like to tap right here on the thymus because that gets energy moving. And a lot of times, like while I'm talking, it's a little bit harder, but for me, I can tell when that shifted energy because I'll, have a big yawn or just kind of feel the relaxation through my body. But this disrupts those patterns that you might be stuck in, and it helps shift your energy into a different state. And then Scorpio is a water sign. So anything you can do connected to water after this, if you want to take a bath or make sure you're drinking, water, like always water is great with energy work. Our bodies need that. And it helps us to keep the energy flowing. Like a lot of times, a lot of the magical solutions are truly just practical, very earth-based solutions like that of just taking care of your body. And that can completely change, your magic practice. It doesn't have to be some gigantic ritual, which those are amazing and I love those. But, the stage I'm at in life, that's not always practical. But I can, get a fancy glass and make sure that I'm drinking enough water throughout the day. So that way energy is not getting physically stagnant in my body. And then one other thing that I wanted to talk about is that this full moon is opposite a lot of planets in Taurus. So it's bringing up a lot for us to face and heal before we have the new moon in Taurus next month. That's the one great thing about full moons and new moons. They are, the opposites of the spectrum. So you can heal what you need to heal with the full moon. and then clear out space to then set intentions for a new moon that is in the opposite sign. So right now, this is clearing out a lot of like heavy, shame-based, dark energies in order for us to connect to that Taurus energy, which is all about self-worth and really grounding into the pleasures of this earth. And so I'm hoping with the new moon live stream next month, we can just set some intentions together and talk about the new moon. I've actually put together a guide for the Taurus new moon that goes house by house. So if you know your birth time, you can plug that in to astro.com or astro-charts.com, which are my two favorites, and see which house is being activated. And then the guide will explain what area of your life to focus on for the most impact. And it also goes over a few other things like planetary aspects, and there's some inner work questions. I love using the moon for inner work, and so this guide helps you dive into that. There's a song suggestion, some intention setting, and then also connecting with every phase of the moon and what you can do, when it's at a gibbous moon or a balsamic moon, all that stuff. We can actually utilize the moon every day of the month, not just new moons and full moons. And I tried to put together a guide that makes it simple and easy to apply in your life. So I put the link for that in the description of this video. And, like with the new moon book, it's not essential to have that to come to the live stream. I want everybody to be able to come to the live stream. But this is just a way to dive in further if that's where you're at on your journey and what you're looking for. So I want to thank you for tuning into this video. If you're watching the recording, I have set the intention that anyone who watches this gets the healing benefits from it. And you can do this writing exercise any time of the month. The Scorpio full moon just really helps us dredge up things that we might not be as willing to face on other months. So there's a good energy to get into, especially, like I said, we're going to have Pluto in retrograde starting tomorrow until October 6th. So this is going to be a lot of inner work, and I hope that the moon can help add some structure to your practice. And I look forward to seeing you next month. Bye.